of Postgres with the multi-master replication. All right.
Good afternoon. Right. I mean, the sessions after the lunch are the hardest to attend, not to sleep, right? I'll keep the session as interactive as possible, folks. But if you have any questions, you don't have to wait till the end. No, ask me the question. So the session is a lot more interactive. Thank you. My name is Hari Kiran. I'm a customer success advocate at PG Edge. It's a startup. We're working in the Postgres ecosystem, adding the multi-master features to the whole Postgres open source community. Now, I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to scratch the surfaces of how do you transform your single master or a single primary database into a multi-master and make sure you are still within the boundaries or within the Postgres open source ecosystem. Right? That's the main goal or the main motto that we have at PG Edge. We have another product which is PG Edge Cloud, which is more of a SaaS/DBaaS offering. Now, if you look at what are some of the problems with single master or the current Postgres core, which allows us to scale with n number of read replicas. We can scale using our logical replica, right? Some of the issues that we have found with extensive customer outreach and extensive market research are these three pivotal problems, right? Application users, I mean, I'm from India, right? Now I've seen some of the folks from Australia, some of the folks from Europe, US, right? So our application users are spread across the globe, right? But the application servers or the database servers, for now, they are still not yet global. Meaning, you can set up a cloud instance on AWS or some of the cloud voice that we have, right? The Googles or the Azures. But you will end up having one primary instance, right? We see that as one of the problems. We see that as one of the issues. And looked at, hey, what are some of the options we could look at in resolving them. And now one other point is the databases are hard to go global. It involves cost. It involves operational overhead. It involves people. It involves the commissioning and the provisioning and the IT infrastructure overheads. Now, even if you look at the very foundation, the building blocks of setting up a database instance, right? So on your left-hand side is the primary and replica, which is the conventional architecture that we set up. Day in and day out, you use Ansible or Terraform or even a simple Bash script can go ahead and set up this primary and replica. And we would have done this 1,001 times. On the right-hand side, the subtle differences that we would like to introduce is the master, multi-master, right? So if you look at the computing at the the base of it, right, the bottom of your screen, so you've got multiple database servers, all of the servers acting as primaries, which means you will be able to go ahead and write to each and every one of those nodes, right? So that's where the unidirectional replication slightly transforms and advances into a multi-master / bidirectional replication. Bidirectional replication isn't something new for the Postgres ecosystem. It has been there in existence since 9.4. So we had a patched version of 9.4, which allowed us to install the BDR 1.0 extension that made the database to a level, a bidirectional compliant. Now, if you look at some of the advanced users or the enterprises what are some of the key areas, right? Key areas that some of the companies or some of the enterprises are focusing on, right? Availability is at most one of the important ask, I would say, right? One of the important KRAs, right? So we are talking about, no, we are not even talking about, 2 nines availability anymore, right? So 3 nines and 4 nines availability is something that a lot of the enterprises vouch for, a lot of the enterprises are looking for in the database ecosystem, right? Database platforms. And from a global usage standpoint, right? Like I mentioned about, we have got users across the globe, we have got applications across the globe, right? How do we make sure the database side of the story is also global? Multi-master is one of the ways. I'm not saying it is the only way. I'm saying one of the ways is to go with the multi-master database ecosystem, right? Now this is a lot of the distributed database engineering folks, distributed database companies are looking at, right? So these are the two instances that we are mentioning here, but to the lay of the land is far more bigger than what we have, right? So these are the two studies that I often quote whenever I'm talking to the customers, when I'm talking to the engineering folks, right? Saying, hey, if for you the availability and latency is an important factor, right? You might probably look at these two use cases, right? You might want to take a look at these two instances where you could have safeguarded your IT infrastructure. You could have safeguarded some of the investment that you have made in setting up the database, in making sure the platform is resilient, making sure it is fault tolerant, and so on and so forth, right? The overall IT acumen that should be part and parcel of any database ecosystem per se. And both of them, right? So whenever we look at these latency plus lack of availability, we lose customers, and nobody wants to lose any customers, right? We want to gain customers, we want to acquire customers, and make sure we are on the win-win situation, right? So both the customers have to be 100% available, or at the most 99.99 available, and making sure the applications have minimum to zero latencies, right? So there is a concept called as closer to user, which is to set up the applications, use Cloudflares, the Vercels, Fastly. We have got now one pod called as Varnish Software. They are also in this CDN ecosystem. Every one of these companies or enterprises are going the route of getting the compute, making sure the data, making sure the entire user experience is closer to the user, right? Now, one of the solutions, like I said, right, one of the solutions is PGH platform. This is a pure Postgres and an open source version available. I'll talk about the GitHub and then the URLs. But just to look at a very, very high level perspective of what PGH platform is, right? It is optimized for the network edge, which is, again, closer to the user, and then making sure you are incorporating some of the core fundamentals of edge computing into your database platform. And we support, we talk about this multi-availability zones, multi-region, and then, multi-cloud deployments. As of now, PGH platform supports all the 3 cloud CSPs, right? The Googles, Azures, and the GCP, right? And then hybrid cloud deployments. So I've been a big fan of, or big advocate of the cloud concentration compliance, right? Which is I mean, you may be having relationship with one of the CSPs, right? The idea or the point that I'm trying to make is you are risking cloud concentration, which means if that particular cloud has got any issues on that specific region, right? So you are jeopardizing the customer experience, you're jeopardizing a lot of the other stuff. Now, some of the key features of PG Edge platform, if I say, again, this is built on the foundations that we have had for a decade, right? Simon Riggs, one of the the earlier architects of logical replication, rest in peace. The gentleman passed away in an accident, a few weeks ago. He was one of the architects of the logical replication that we are using now, right? And the BDR, the bidirectional replication, open source platforms that we have had. So this, the entire PG Edge platform is dependent on or based on the PG logical, which is again one of the oldest extensions. A lot of our Postgres engineers know about. And the PGEdge platform is an asynchronous database replication, I would say. And whenever we talk about multi-masters, so you're talking about data being processed, data being inserted, returned to, read from multiple master instances, which makes sure there are a lot of guardrails that needs to be implemented. One of them is the conflict resolution and the conflict avoidance. So in a very, very basic sense, if I have to say, there's node 1 and then there is node 2, both of them are trying to insert a primary key value. You are ending up in a conflict situation, right? For us to make sure the conflicts are not going to be arising, PGEdge platform has got a couple of guardrails in place. One of them is the CRDTs, the conflict-free replication data types, right? I'm not going to go in depth on some of the points that we have, but I would definitely scratch the surface, right? So again, another important point is the latency-based routing, which is to find the nearest node. Say, for example, a connection request is coming from Thailand. A connection request is coming from Australia. So you would have servers that are closer to that region, and you will identify in an intelligent fashion, hey, what is the K nearest node available, and make sure to send out all those connection requests to that nearest node, right? That is the latency-based routing, automatic routing, right? Again, if you are talking about incorporating this logic into your application, it is to go ahead and change your code, change the whole application behavior, and it involves a lot of development activities too. In order to avoid that, we made sure the latency-based routing for automation, automating the whole connection concentration layer to the nearest node is available with PGEdge out of the box, right? And one other important thing is the anti-chaos engine. We call it as ACE. ACE, as the name stands for, it is for something superior. So we have ACE from a validation standpoint, which is, hey, there is node 1, node 2, and node 3. All of them are speaking the same language. From an LSN standpoint, from a SEN standpoint, for all the Oracle folks who know about SEN, and making sure all 3 nodes have the latest and greatest LSNs and consistent data, right? I'm going to talk about the CAP theorem and what is the components, 2 components of CAP theorem that we have incorporated as part of PG Edge, right? And data residency support again, right? If I have to quote an example of data residency, there's no more good example than GDPR, which is to hold the data within their own region, right? So you will be able to incorporate data residency support out of box, which is to make sure, hey, the region that is available, now they've got 3 regions and then 1 in Europe, all the data that is processed within Europe stays within Europe, right? So you need not have selective replication between the node that is available in Europe, and then you don't have to transmit any data that is GDPR compliant to the other multi-master nodes, right? Which is again an out-of-box feature that is part and parcel of PG Edge. And I keep saying that open source model and then standard Postgres, right? If you look at this diagram, it's very clearly evident what is the standard Postgres engine and what is part and parcel of PG Edge. What is part and parcel of the PG Edge offering? So if you take a look at it, the top two blocks, right, the PG Edge CLI and the Spock are the only two blocks that are contributed or that is part and parcel of PG Edge platform, right? All the other components, right, including the standard PostgreSQL engine or some of the extensions we have, right? Postgres is famous for its extensibility, meaning if a feature is not available in Postgres core, you will be able to go ahead and look at the internet and see, hey, what is the extension that I can install on my Postgres and get out and perform my tasks, which is not available in the Postgres, within the Postgres core and contrib modules. Now, the Spock is the multi-active replication which has got that inbuilt conflict resolution in place, right? That's the extension. You will be able to go ahead and download the source code, look at what is the part and parcel of how Spock is built, right? What are some of the building blocks, are the architectural principles that we have incorporated from the erstwhile BDR systems, right? The BDR1s, the BDR2s, and the PG Logical 1 and 2, which are still an open source extensions that are available. And like the categorization here itself is absolutely clear, right? Crystal clear as to if there are any other third-party applications, if there is any other components that you need to have up and running for setting up a PG Edge platform, right? So you should have your standard PSQL Postgres engine and the bunch of extensions that PG Edge supports. Right. Some of the key differentiators that I touched upon, right? So the standard 100% Postgres, which is, if you have a database, Postgres database server, which is running, either Postgres 14 or 15 or the latest and greatest 16, you can download the Spock extension from GitHub. You can, start working on, setting up a multi-master. There's enough documentation now we have made available on the pgh.com, right? And this is another important component, right? So the open source versus, we are, for God's sake, we are now talking at FOSS, fully open source software, right? So this is another important, the fabrics and fundamentals of the PG Edge itself, right? So if you wanted to be as open as possible, that's why we have this Spock extension and the NodeCTL components already available for download. The source code is available for download on GitHub, right? And one other important thing is, how do you make sure the user experience or the way you are installing the PG Edge plus Postgres is made as easier as possible, right? So all of them are available. And this is the CAP theorem that I was referring to. And PG Edge is eventually consistent AP, right, which is availability and the performance, right? So we are not looking at the consistency, right? So that's one of the reasons we say asynchronous versus the synchronous replication. So whenever we talk about synchronous replication, we are curtailing ourselves from a write latency standpoint, right? Now we are introducing the way, in my opinion, we are introducing latency when we are doing in the writes, right? So though we have got multi-masters in place, though we have got multi-region support, it still hampers your write acceleration, right? That's one of the reasons why we consciously took the asynchronous way. Right. So we have spoken, enough about PG Edge. How do we go ahead? How do we go ahead and take a look at some of the deployment options? I said, right. So the most easiest of all is to look at the Docker, right? You just need to download the source code. Go to the GitHub /PG Edge and take a look at the Docker component, the Docker side of the code base, download it. You go, you will be up and running on a Docker setup, within a few minutes, right? I have done that, multiple times. And then the whole user experience that we want to bring to the community, right? Bring to the developer community is make it as easy as possible for you guys to set it up and then start working on it, right? And then we have got, this is the GitHub URL. The slides will be made available by the FOSS organizers at some point of time. But no, this is the GitHub where you can go download some of the examples and feel free to contribute back to the code repository if you have any thoughts or any issues that you have found, right? And this is the last slide that I have. Any new Postgres technology that gets in, right? Without customers, without customers, we are all doing nothing, right? So this is one of the customer use case that we have from a financial organization. I wouldn't name the financial organization now, but if you look at the general use case, right? The whole the customer experience was at setting up numerous database servers, having a large database team, trying to look at managing and maintaining that database. Now they have shifted to PGH platform. They are able to do database distribution successfully. They are able to lower their IT operational cost, and at the same time able to work. Make sure the Postgres engineers that are working on the erstwhile Postgres instances does not have to do any hand holding. Meaning you are as good as working on a Postgres database, right? The added components are the Spark and the PGH platform utilities like NodeCTL and stuff, right? And these are the benefits that the customer has made, which is highly available system, ultra high available system, making sure the latency numbers are as less as possible, right? Thank you so much. I'm open for any questions.
Okay, do we have any questions? We have.
Thank you. Interesting with multi-master application that you have a